Welcome to episode 1 of Pass the Baton. I am your host, I'm Ara Mohale. Some of you might know me as Gina. Pass the Baton is essentially a discussion of just me giving you the 411 on the music industry in the South African landscape, a series that I will be releasing an episode every Monday. I'm not particular about the time as yet. This series is targeted at upcoming artists. Yes, established artists might find it helpful, but my main focus is on the emerging acts. And so do subscribe to our Patreon. It's $5 a month or under 100 Rand a month. In today's episode, we will be discussing the top 10 things to know or do as you begin your music career. So here are the top 10 things that you need to know and do as you begin your music career. Number 1, very unpopular, very controversial, but I guarantee you it is very important. Go to school or get a type of education. Our entertainment industry is flooded with dropouts, and there's a certain era or time where we've seen a high dropout rate, and the kids pursuing music careers saying they're gonna make it. Those mentioned certain artists that didn't go to school, and look at how their lives turned out. That is far from the truth. Those artists have educated people behind them. The music industry is a very predatory landscape, like every other industry. For as long as you do not have knowledge or education about something, you are prey. For as long as you have knowledge or are educated, it is a lot easier to move about in a certain industry. So go to school, get a type of education. Education is the number one thing I always advise any of my clients, that they got to prioritize their education. Besides the certification, besides the degree, besides the your matric, when you are educated or when you enroll in an educational system, you have a structured way of thinking as well as interpreting information, receiving it or looking for it. So in this industry, music industry, especially if you're an independent artist, you're constantly going to have to be looking for information, finding solutions to certain challenges you'll be faced with. And that requires education, because it needs you to have a certain type of mindset. For as long as you're not educated, you're not going to be able to facilitate your career to that level. You're not going to be able to find the information, or rather you're going to be actually prey, because you're not going to know how to read the contracts. You're not going to know how to, state or stipulate the kind of agreements you're looking to get into. You're not going to know how to leverage off your music career, how to monetize your career. Those things they're very pivotal, and they depend highly on your education. So contrary to the most popularized belief in this industry or entertainment scape, go to school, guys. It doesn't matter what kind of school you go to, whether it's a higher education, whether it's a certificate, whether it's exactly even in your training field. If you're a performing artist, go to performing schools, whatever, videography, photography, anything, go for it. Get a formal education. It's imperative. Get your certificates. Government facilities provide free courses as well. Do it. It will change your mind state. It's very imperative. Number 2, get a job. Get a job. Very often we see that the youngins would not get a job. Yeah, when I say the youngins, I mean the young ones, the youth that is emerging. They'll not get a job and still have this dream that they are going to break out, they're going to make it, they're going to make millions, and it's going to be all dandy. Unfortunately, contrary to I would refer to it as the American dream, that is not how our economic landscape is set up. You need to get a job. Getting into studio costs money, mixing and mastering costs money, getting that artwork costs money, getting a publicist costs money, distributing costs money. Listen, your career at each and every single point requires money, and you cannot establish yourself for as long as you don't have a job. So get a job. Get a job so that you can be able to facilitate your career in that essence. And also, this also helps you to not be in a very pressed position where you are desperate, because when desperate times call, they will certainly call for desperate measures. And this is why you'll wind up in situations where you see artists are pried on. They enter into contracts that are predatory, and at that time, that person is financially strapped, and they entered into a contract because they needed a way out somehow. And you see later on they complain. Nobody is your parent here. In this landscape, nobody is your savior. You need to learn how to save yourself. You need to be responsible for yourself. And once you put the ink on that paper, there's an agreement. You have to adhere to it. But we've seen so many controversies and breakouts of relationships and between labels and artists because of things like this. And that is always because they didn't get a job. So get a job, fund yourself so that you're not pried on, so that you're not desperate, and as well as to be able to fund your career. Number 3, identify the kind of artist you are. So there are 2 types of artists. There's a recording artist and then there's a performing artist. Some artists are a combination of these, and some artists are either or. So a recording artist is somebody that just makes the music and releases it and finds other ways to monetize the music instead of live performing, doing gigs, right? And then a performing artist usually makes money off live performances, prevailing more than recording. And sometimes they might dabble into the recording by recording their performances, but their main basis is being a performer instead of being in the studio the most. And then most artists in our landscape are both recording and performing, where you join the recording of the music and then you go out and take the gigs and you perform it. So you gotta understand where you fall in this game. Once you identify this, you know how to monetize, how to make money off your career. If you're a recording artist only, you gotta look into alternatives of how to make money off your music if you're not going to be taking gigs. And then if you are a performing artist, you gotta look into how to make money off your performances instead of it just needing you to go the route of recording. You know, these are, if you're a combination of both, you see how you can optimize both. So you need to identify that it's very imperative. 4, know and handle your business. Once you've identified the kind of artist you are, that will also give you an indicator if you're taking this as a hobby or as a business. If you are entering into this to make money, to make it a business, to make it a career versus a hobby, then you need to know and handle your business. You need to know the different types of rights you have and can monetarily exploit. The different types of rights that are concerning how to make money off your music and how you can make money off those rights. You need to know those things. And 2, doing all the necessary paperwork. You see artists that get into studios as a vibe. They record the music, they release it, and they didn't handle their paperwork. They didn't do the split sheets of royalties. They don't know whose label distributed what publisher did what, and it becomes a mess. You've seen the numerous public specs artists would have. Even sampling, you release music, you sampled somebody's song, it gets copyright claimed, now you're in a big mess, you're getting sued, lawsuits flying left, right. You need to do your due diligence, and that is for you to know your business and you handle it by doing your paperwork, knowing the different types that concern your business. 5, invest in your craft. Most artists, when they start out, they're looking for somebody else to do their push-ups. Unfortunately, life does not work that way. You have to do the hard work. You have to invest in yourself. You have to put yourself in a position whereby it looks very enticing to invest in you. For a different person, a stranger, to look at you and feel like they're enticed to invest in you. You cannot expect someone to want to invest in you simply because you are talented. Always have the mentality that this landscape is a business. And for you to attract investors, for you to want somebody to put money in you, you should look like you can multiply that money. And it all starts off by you putting the money in yourself. Because how can the next person put money in you if you're not putting money in yourself, And so how you invest in your craft is 1, getting the right equipment, the good quality kind of equipment. It's necessary for you. Get your recording studio, the different kind of businesses that sell starter pack studio equipment. Do that for you. If you need an upgrade, different softwares, invest in that. That is very imperative to your craft and the quality that you'll be producing. The second part of investing in your craft is invest in the necessary services. And that is to do with your PR, know what PR is, your lawyers, know how a lawyer plays a part in your career. It could be your financial advisor, it could be your accountant or your auditor, it could be your publisher, it could be many. It's very imperative for you to identify the different kinds of professionals that play a part in your career, and you invest in that. See why it's important to get a job? Because at each and every stage, your career requires money. You need to be hiring out and sourcing out services. Another thing that I really want to put out there that I've seen in my years of practice, and I myself as a rookie had started out doing first, is that other artists are not where your breakthrough is. The artists that are bigger than you, your A-listers, B-listers, they are not your breakthrough. They are not your savior. The people who are your saviors, the people who your breakthrough lies in their hands, is people behind those artists. The only thing an artist bigger than you, or the most booming artist, B-lister, A-lister at the time, can do for you is a feature. And even that feature still needs to be strategized by the people behind the artist. So they can link you, and you essentially could. It's good to network with other artists in respect of the craft, in respect of the product, which is the music. But everything else that is business and otherwise, that's not where your breakthrough lies. So know who to invest in, in terms of networking when it comes to your craft, and then as well as when it comes to your business. So you can know these two different artists, and people behind the artists are different people. They don't serve the same role. You need to know who to go to, how, etc. 6, another very controversial one, time management. It is so popularized that creatives are, disorderly because that's just the way they are. That's how the creative mind works. That's absolute BS. That's nonsense. You need to unsubscribe to if you want to make it big in your career. You need time management, right? Use your calendars. Google has a free calendar you can literally use if you have an event, if you're booked somewhere, if you have a studio session, if you have social media activity to do, whatever that pertains to your career, you can literally schedule it into that calendar and it will give you notifications. Utilize the calendar, utilize your alarm systems, on your phones. Those help you to stay on check. Those help you to stay in time. Discipline is very imperative. If you're going to start a project when it comes to like an album, set a goal. Set a goal that this album needs to be finished at such and such time, because unfortunately, as much as there's this running narrative that creatives are not disciplined, that disorderly, that's just the way they are and it needs to be accepted. Unfortunately, the world does not work with the creative's clock, particularly in this industry. Particularly in entertainment, everything works on the clock. There's a cycle for awards, submitting for awards. There's a cycle at which albums or EPs, etc., are considered to be qualified to enter for awards. There's a cycle when it comes to the press. There's a cycle for, performances, festivals. There's a cycle for everything. There's a cycle for distributing your music. When's the optimum time? There's a time for submitting your music to radio stations. Certain days are better off. There's a time for your playlist with the DSPs. You see that everything has time attached to it. So long as you know how to manage your time, you're going to do good. But if you do not manage your time, it's not going to work in your favor. Even in partnership with other people, if you have to collaborate with a certain artist, a certain studio time is scheduled, you need to get there on time. You need to give the next person a certain verse, a certain hook, a certain, stems, separates, DJ packs, whatever that is required of you, you have a deadline attached to it. And that is imperative because that is time management. Another big one that is currently plaguing our industry is financial management. We've seen the headlines, such and such an artist is owing SARS such an amount of money. Such and such an artist aged and they're broke. Such and such an artist died and, they don't have money. Those type of things. And it all boils down to what? Financial management. And here's how to start. Pick up money management courses. They're literally free. You can look up money management courses. Even banks offer management courses for free. So sign up for those. Learn about money. Don't be afraid. I know, especially within the Black community, we stem from backgrounds where we are very traumatized when it comes to money because we come from a place of lacking. So money can be a bit of a taboo to confront head on. So long as you're freed and you're equipped in regards to your money, you're going to go far. You do not need to be the most booming A-listing artist. You could be a B-lister or C-lister for all we care, and you'll still be fine and doing well because you're managing your money right, because you're equipped. It's very imperative. So take up money management courses, sign up, learn about your money, break through your generational traumas when it has to do with finances. Another myth I've seen very popular is that financial advisors are for the privileged people. You can have zero in the bank and you can still go look for a financial advisor to help you and gain some knowledge about money, how to deal with money, where to invest, how to go about things. You don't have to have a lot of money for you to get the services of a financial advisor, because those people are there to help you to know how to expand and how to use your money. So in your music career, you're going to have to learn how to stretch your money, especially if you're an independent artist. Your money is going to be going into funding your music videos, your photography, your studio times, your marketing, sourcing the people to do the certain jobs, your styling, your traveling, it's a lot. So you need to learn how to manage what you have at that point and how to maximize it, how to leverage of that. And also, again, so that you don't find yourself in a mess like people owing SARS. Getting an accountant is imperative. It also ties into your financial management. Getting an accountant to audit your books, audit your personal bank account, to audit your record label bank account. Actually, also keeping track of where your money goes, keeping track of how much you're spending versus how much you need to make, and what you need to do to break that even, to make that profit, etc. So keep track of your money. I know it's very intimidating. In the beginning, it will get very intimidating. It will get scary. Most of us, we don't actually get to master this habit, but as you practice it, you start to get better and it's not as intimidating. So get into that habit. Essentially, treat yourself like a business, 8, do not be bad business. Do not be bad business. You can do all the things that I've advised you above, but as long as you're a bad business, your career is not going to do well. And here's how most artists are bad business in our landscape. They do not serve their role, or they disrespect their role. If you're a business, or if you treat yourself as a business, you need to understand that everybody you interact with is either a client or a possible referral. All right. If you get a feature from the next artist, deliver and deliver on time, deliver quality. Show up. Showing up is imperative. If you get booked for a show, show up and show up on time. Do the necessary things and deliver quality. If you're booked for a media activity, show up and show up on time. And yes, life is not perfect. Things can come up, and therefore you have to get in the routine or habit of rain checking early, convenient to the people involved in the activity you committed to. If it turns out you're not going to be able to show up for an activity or a role you committed to, let the next person know a day before, a couple of hours before. If you're running late and you need to extend some time, let them know, and on time. Don't be an inconvenience. So what I've experienced is a lot of our creatives don't respect the people they enter into business with, they enter into agreements with. And that is why our creative space can be such a mess. I've had my own personal experiences where you have a certain collaboration with a certain artist, they don't show up or they don't respect the business. Ensure that you deliver a professional impression, because it goes a long way. It goes a long way, because just like any ordinary business, okay, if a business executes a service well, they get word of mouth spread. But if you perform badly, the word of mouth also spreads like, hey, do not go there because it's not going to turn out well. And that's where most of you guys' careers get stunted. You either hire bad managers that are bad with relationships, that don't deal with the business correctly, or you yourself, you sabotage your careers by being bad business in this essence. So be careful of who you hire as your manager. Be wary of that, as well as you yourself conduct yourself in a pleasant way for business. It's a huge problem in our landscape. Our creators are not really, because everybody's treating this like it's a hobby, but when it comes to money, that's when they want to talk about business. And it's like you are not conducting yourself in a business-like manner to begin with. So what do? And I hope this kind of habit really dies down. It's imperative to our music economy landscape. Number 9, sobriety is the sharpest state of mind. Our industry, the entertainment industry, had become very infamous, especially with the elders or adults. The reason why it became so infamous is because our industry had been rigged and plagued with drugs and alcohol, and they had seen many, many people have a downfall in this industry. And this is to the emerging artists. Sobriety is your best friend. You being in a sober state and creating is the best thing you can ever do to yourself, for your craft, for the people that follow you. Because sobriety ensures endurance in this landscape. When you're sober, you make sober decisions, create a sober kind of product. You move in a sober way. You have sober mannerisms. But if you are on something and you're not in control of that, it's going to reflect with the decisions you make and the product you create, as well as your followership. We've seen music is a huge influence. We've seen an era where certain drugs, certain substances would be very, very popular because of a certain music product had been put out there, and it felt like it was praising that which has been talked about, substance that had been talked about. So it's very imperative, and you actually get to be healthier. When you're an artist, you use your vocals. Your body needs to perform. You need stamina. So hitting the gym, taking care of yourself, taking care of your vocals, not smoking, not drinking. All these things are the things that are imperative to your craft. Not relying on the alcohol or the drugs. It's imperative to your craft. It's imperative to your business. I'm not going to try and preach this in a moral compass, but I'm going to preach this in an essence of maintaining your professionalism, as well as looking to sustain your career and having endurance. If you're sober in this industry, in your craft, in the way you move, in your circles, you're gonna last. But should you try and dabble in some things, you might be one of the many unlucky ones that get stuck, that get hooked, and they are gone, and we lose them to the addiction. So be very careful and take care of yourselves in that essence. The last one, controversial, imperative, and I need to say it because not many people will say it, and it's an honest truth. Know the politics, don't play the politics. Like every industry, even in the workplaces, the formal workplaces, there will always be politics. The music entertainment industry has politics. It's imperative for you to know politics, but it's also imperative for you to not play the politics. How I can paint this picture is you need to know who's who, who's doing what with who, so that you know whose toes to not step on and how to talk to people, how to approach, how to collaborate, etc. But don't play the politics by making it evident, oh, you're siding with who, you're running with cliques who, because that boxes you in the long run. It might pay off in the beginning, it might accelerate your career, but it will box you and inhibit you moving forward. Okay, because if you're choosing sides, you're picking sides, you're running cliques, you're doing this and that, and you're playing the politics, you're going to step on toes you don't need to step on, or you shouldn't be stepping on. You're going to align yourself with certain people, and you're going to be boxed to that, limited to that, because there'll be certain cycles that will now not permit you. So it's very wise to play the in-betweener. It might look to some people like you don't have a backbone, you swing with the air, things like that, you go with the current, but you should prioritize you, your fan base, and your craft above everything. The politics in this industry are not worth participating in at all. At all. Nobody that has participated in the music industry politics has ever felt like it was worth it. It's never been worth it. In fact, most of them would then try to reconcile later on. Sometimes it might work and sometimes it might be too late. So be very wary of that. Yeah, man. So be mindful what you say, who you say to, who you hang out with, choosing side, picking sides. Hey man, you're here for business. You're not here to play favorites. You're not here to play cliques or who's the cool gang. Be very, very mindful of that. So these are my advices on the top 10 things you need to know and be mindful of and practice as you begin your music career. I hope this was very insightful, guys. If you have any other thing to say, contribute, questions, I'm going to try and create some link where you guys can drop me some questions, and then I'll try to create a segment where I attend to the questions you guys pose, and I'll answer them to my best of ability. And yeah, see you again next week, Monday. I'll try and figure out if we'll have a time, but yeah, we will grow from here onwards. But anyway, that's it from me. Till next time. I'm out. Peace.